Alright, today we're going to work with two different types, actually three different types of properties in math. So at the top of your page, label it properties. Chad, Levante, top of your page, properties.
Is that an L or a T?
T. First property we're going to look at is the commutative property. So, with your commutative property, order does not matter. Okay, so order does not matter. For example, if I gave you 7 plus 9, would you agree that 9 plus 7 is the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, order does not matter. When adding, we can switch the numbers around and we're still going to get the same thing. Because if we took 7 plus 9, what would we get? What is it? 16. What's 9 plus 7? 16. So it doesn't matter what order we add it. Okay? That can also work with letters. Okay? Letters, remember, are variables. We worked with those last week. So if we take A plus B, what is that the same thing as?
B plus A.
B plus A. Good.
Would it still work with times?
Would it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because
Give me an example.
17 times 8.
What'd you say?
8.
7 times 8? Okay, so what is 7 times 8?
7, 8.
What's 7 times 8? 56. So now what's 8 times 7? 56. So multiplication is the same thing. It doesn't matter what order. So with our commutative property, we can have it with either addition or multiplication. So if you want to put up here on the side, addition or multiplication. Works with either one. So same thing with your letters. If you have A times B, that is the same thing as B times A. Yeah. Okay, so commutative property, the big thing you need to remember is order does not matter. So there's no property for that. Notice we're not talking about subtraction or division, because if I was to take 9 minus 7 and 7 minus 9, am I going to get the same answer?
No.
No. Because 9 minus 7 would give me what? What's 9 minus 7? 2. So what's 7 minus 9? 7 minus 9. It's not 2, right? It's a negative 2. So there's no property for subtraction. Same thing with division. I can't take 5 and divide it by 3, and then take 3 and divide it by 5. I'm not going to get the same answer. Okay? So now let's look at associative property. So your associative property, order stays the same, the grouping changes, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So order is going to stay the exact same, it's your grouping that's going to change. Jordan, do you have this written down? All of this. You just wrote this last part because you were messing around the whole time I was writing that. So you don't have all of it. You need to write it down. So let's look at 3 plus, and then in parentheses, 9 plus 4. So with associative property, my order has to stay the same. So that's going to be equal to, in parentheses, 3 plus 9 plus 4. So you see how the numbers stayed the same in the same order. I started with a 3, then I had a 9, then I had a 4. The order stays the same. What moved though?
9 and 3.
The 9 and 3 did not move. They stayed the exact same spot.
4.
What moved?
4.
No. 4 stayed at the end.
12, 9.
The what? The parentheses. Look here. Here I have parentheses around the 3 and the 9. Here I have them around the 9 and the 4. So this is what I'm talking about, your grouping changes. Your grouping is your parentheses. So that's what changes in your associative property. Right? Your numbers stayed the same, because if I was to read this out loud without any parentheses, I'd have 3, 9, 4. What's on this side? 3, 9, 4.
The same thing.
Okay, so just the parentheses move. The numbers do not change. So what if I have A plus, in parentheses, B plus C? How am I going to rewrite it on the other side?
B.
What has to start? What's in the beginning?
A plus.
Ryan, what do you think? Okay, so A's got to go first, then what? Plus B. Good. Parentheses are going to move between the A and the B, and then what goes at the end? Plus C.
7.
Okay. What about with multiplication? So let's say I have 8 times, in parentheses, 5 times 7. So what am I going to do? 8 times 5. Then all I'm doing is 8 times 5?
No, 8. 8 and 5.
Okay.
Plus 4 times 7.
Times 7. Good. Levante, are you writing all this down? Okay, so when you have homework, you're not going to have questions on it, right? Okay. Yep.
Yeah, homework.
So if I have A times B, in parentheses, times C, how am I going to write it on the other side?
A. That's B.
Not
B
plus.
times B.
Times B.
Put the parentheses.
Between what?
A and B.
It's over A and B over here.
Oh, between the B and C.
between the B and the C. Okay, so questions on your associative property. Okay, one more to look at. This one's an easy one.
Wasn't it hard?
This is your identity property.
So all these on the homework?
Yep. You have to know the differences between all three of them. Not worried about it now. So who knows what identity means? Have you ever heard that word before outside of math, Nico?
Somebody's personal stuff.
Okay, it's your personal stuff. So how many of you have ever looked in a mirror before? What do you see?
Yourself?
Yourself. So when you're looking at the identity property, you're going to do something to it to get itself back. So, for identity property, get itself back. So if I have a number, what can I add to it to get that same number back?
1.
So let's say I start with 13. What can I add to 13 to get 13?
0.
0. Do you agree that if I take 13 plus 0, I get 13?
Yes.
Okay? So what could I add to A to get A back?
0.
Plus 0. I don't want to add anything to it to get it back. But what about with times? 7, and I want to get 7 back. So what would I times it by?
1.
Times by 1. So A times what?
1.
Times 1 to get A back.
Do we have to put the dot? Yeah.
Yep, because that means time.
But, like, would you count wrong if we didn't?
Yep, you have to have the dot. On this type. On the quiz, you didn't have to.
Oh. That was weird.
That was weird.
The lights went weird.
Lights flickered.
The lights were
Okay, so at the bottom, there went my phone. I had a professor in school that said whenever you put something in stars, that's really important and you need to memorize it. So, put a couple stars at the bottom.
I'm not good at making stars.
No properties of subtraction or division. All these properties we talked about today had to do with what?
Plus,
Addition and what?
And multiplication.
And multiplication. Okay? None of these properties have to do with subtraction or division. So if you get a subtraction or a division problem, is there a property to go with it?
Nope.
Yeah. No.
Do we leave it blank?
Okay? You would just say no property. Okay? Because you guys aren't going to learn about any of them. Okay? So no property for subtraction or division. So as soon as you see a subtraction sign, as soon as you see division, you cannot solve that problem.
Somebody X it out, like,
Okay?
put it X right?
So, what we're going to do, you're going to flip back to the beginning of your notebook, and you're going to go to page 3. We're going to fill out your table of contents. We're starting on page 3.
The date?
Page 3, you're not on page 3. No, you're not, you're on page 2. Should be a blank page because it's a new quarter. So we're dividing your material by quarters. So this is a new quarter, so today is 11/7, and we looked at properties today. And we were on page 16. Okay, 11/7, properties, page 16.
Close it up.